This video is brought to you by Reblum, makers of their eponymously named portrait retouching software. Check them out using the QR code here or the link down in the show notes below for a free, no credit card required 7-day trial. And if you like what you see and want to move forward, save 20% by using the discount code HUE at checkout, a whopping 40% off a lifetime license if you purchase one before September 6th, 2026. Thanks, Reblum. AI scares the crap out of me, which is precisely why I've been spending so much time over the last couple of years probing everything from large language models, ChatGPT, Claude, and Grok in particular, to film, Higgsfield, to photo retouching, Aperty, Evoto, Retouch for Me, and today, Reblum. But because of my prior experience with those other retouching tools, when I opened Reblum for the very first time, the very first thing I muttered to myself was, where the heck is the rest of it? Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant, and straight up, I'm happy Reblum is sponsoring this video because it has been an eye-opener for me. That's because Reblum offers a very different value proposition from every other AI photo retouching application I've explored. Not simply because of the features I didn't see, but because of the philosophy, ambition, and courage of its developers, both for those features I did see and what they chose with intent to take out that actually shouldn't be there in the first place. I mean, just look. Here's the thing. First, Reblum is about making people look their best, not making them look like someone they are not. Call that fidelity to reality rather than an untethered capability to alter perceived reality. Hold that thought. Second, it's about security, privacy, what happens to our photographs after we've handed them over to somebody else's AI, and workflow. Hold that thought. Let me show you how and why the distinctions I just made matter to me. Reblum is designed to compensate for a bad day, a bad night, a bad week without sculpting, chiseling, shrinking, or inventing somebody else. And that's it. Those other guys, far more ambitious. Brilliant up to a point, but you go beyond that point, nicht gut. I look at this and say, wow, she works so hard and she has the gene pool that she does, that the maximum as far as making her bigger looks still incredible to me. And on the other hand, if you typically use this to make people look a little bit slimmer, a little more flattering, here it gets out of control. Body dysmorphia, I'm not into it. But this, well, the kid looks great. But she's got a zit. Okay, 3 zits. Honkers, if I'm being honest. But she's beautiful because she looks happy. Great smile. Not a face I need to fix or sculpt. Even if she wanted it, even if her mom wanted it, I would not do it. But 3 honkin' zits that happened to bloom simultaneously within a day or 2 of her class shoot? Am I going to take them out? Absolutely. Because I think of that as a kindness. And, one might argue, a better representation of who she is the other 364 days of the year. I'm not sure about that, but I get the premise and I would be sympathetic to it. Hold that thought too. Even then, what I don't want is skin that suddenly looks like it came out of a video game. So I'm looking at the blemishes, yes, but I'm also looking at everything around them once they're gone. Pores, textures, the little variations that tell my eye this is actual skin. That's what I want. If you didn't know her or see her that day, you'd never notice the zits were gone, only that she's beautiful and happy. And if you did, a year later, you'd likely not even think retouching. To me, that's what Reblum is. Light retouching, not reimagining. It refuses to give one even the option of going heavy. Heavier? Yes, that's the difference between natural and fashion presets. And in between those and off, you can season to taste. Upon your first blush, you may linger on what Reblum isn't. But by the end, if you're at all like me, respect Reblum. Booyakasha. Because Reblum asks the question, not what can we do with these tools, but instead, what should we do with them? Any kind of good software should disappear, minimize the distance between intent and execution. But the best photography, in my book, irrespective of one's preferred editing tools, this requires a higher standard, beginning with make it count, make it worthy. Do no harm. Every unnecessary slider is another opportunity to make a bad decision. Make your subject look 20 pounds lighter by body contouring? I won't do it. Of course, that's just me. Your mileage may vary, and your paycheck may depend on doing that. But should you? What are the downstream effects of what you're doing? Want to apply K-drama level techniques to get skin that perfect? Well, in real life, that's about genetics, superb precision makeup, 20 by 20 foot scrims, key to fill ratios approaching, if not at 1:1, Cook lenses or equivalent mist filters, and incredibly sophisticated post-process masking and editing. In other words, craft. Not a slider that turns a real person into something else. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, anyone? Now, this is a more interesting scenario to me because the older we get, the more our faces and bodies are evidence of where we've been and who we've become. For the woman on the left, sun, gravity, laughter, maybe worry or brave face. We don't really know. Guy all the way on the right, screen right, might have been an athlete once, maybe like his buddy on the left who still appears fit. Maybe the difference is too many pints of chocolate Haagen-Dazs or craft beer. Maybe something else altogether. Photographs don't tell stories. People do. But in every case, the point is a life fully lived leaves marks. And I refuse to automatically decide that those marks are defects. So, for her, a light touch once again. That's all that's needed if it's needed at all. Maybe I take down something that reads as a temporary distraction like forehead shine. Yeah, maybe I soften a transition the light made harsher than it really was. Don't really see a need to do that. But her lines, those textures, the evidence that this woman has actually lived and looked this good, I'm not interested in turning her into porcelain or taking 20 years off her face. I'd rather capture those lines with a modicum of kindness and celebrate them than erase them. There is beauty in imperfection. There is information in imperfection. Sometimes they're the same thing. Photography is just another vector into seeing ourselves and each other more clearly. Take me, for example. 3 different images of me, all taken by Claudia, of course, serving 3 different purposes. The passport photo, clinical, orthogonal, flat, size of the face relative to the frame, regulated to a single standard. And as it turns out, perfect for what it's supposed to do. Tell a customs or immigration officer, yeah, that's the guy standing in front of me. This was shot on her A7R5 with the 24-70 f2.8 G Master 2. Then there's this one. Me really crunched up in post in a Yankees hat, same kit, 3,000 miles west. Claudia loves this photograph because she worked hard to accomplish a very different purpose. She liked the basic image because of my eyes. It's more dimensional than what she usually does for our thumbnails. And the heavy-handed edit is specifically designed to optimize the frame as the anchor to a 3 or 4 second reel on Instagram, most likely consumed on the 6 square inches or so of a smartphone display, displayed for about a second. This last one, this time back here in the Bat Studio with the manual focus only Voigtlander 50mm f1.0 Nocton at f1.0 with its inherently lower contrast wide open and dramatic depth of field fall off. Shot with a single light, heavily diffused, just out of frame to assess how a 1.050 renders. All of which is to demonstrate how much the role of purpose, lens selection, lighting design, depth of field, and the photographer, oh my, can play in the creation of such very different photographs of the same person, and how much more important and satisfying it can be to work those levers in real life, in real time, getting it right to capture. And if you mess it up, shoot it again. I really like this shot. Cropped, a little editing in Lightroom, but otherwise essentially untouched. It is closest to the man Claudia actually sees every day, but I see me in it too. Much older and wiser, I hope, than the 16-year-old I saw in the mirror every morning up until life forced me relatively recently to see myself more clearly, helping me truly understand the way I simply couldn't when I was much younger, the adage, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up. Those lines on my forehead, the constant thinking, much of it spent on things that concern me. Honestly earned. Not exaggerated. Just what they are. Maybe a little too much sun when I was growing up on the beach. Same person, same reality, very different choices about what to emphasize and how to see it. Which is what photographers have always done. The question here is whether our choices reveal the person or replace him. And then there's this screen capture. A single frame from one of my videos a couple of years ago. There's a story behind it, a story of an image revealing things neither I nor Claudia saw, but other people did. And I am fortunate that was the case. Here's why. I record and render in 4K on great cameras and lenses for our videos. Currently Lumix S1 II with Lumix 24-60 2.8 at 60mm, typically at 2.8 or 4. I record with my face, filling most of the screen. I do this because my ambition is to make you feel like we're both in a room, engaged in conversation. I want it to feel real because for me, at least the one half of the interaction I can control, it is. The net result is a very sharp image with essentially no observable optical weaknesses, tightly controlled lighting with lots of diffusion. Good enough when I published it back then that more than a couple of doctors saw something on my face, reached out to me and told me to get it checked. Thank you. They were right. They caught what turned out to be a basal cell carcinoma in time. Ever since then, by the way, I've gone for annual checks. My dermatologist found this one last week. Yes, this is a defect. I am imperfect, like every other living, breathing thing on the planet at one point or another, but the image itself, critically real, and therefore perfect in this instance, a reality feedback loop. There's something liberating about that. It is literally life-affirming. Reality, for a photographer like me, is far more important, far more informative than cosmetic aesthetics. These two guys, they look beautiful together, don't they? And late afternoon down at the shore is most definitely my jam. Now, newlyweds, in this situation, are clients, not blank canvases for a photographer's philosophy, so one has to be mindful of that, of course. But with this said, me personally, am I going to turn the groom's ever so slight double chin, if you even notice it, into a K-drama leading man's jawline? No, I will not. I refuse. 20 years from now, maybe he'll look back, see it, and say to himself, and she still married me? And they'll both laugh. Or maybe she'll say to him instead, you were adorable then, more handsome now. Could be something else, but I don't want to go there. Might I remove that little crease by her armpit? I might. I'd be inclined not to do so. On the other hand, that flush on her chest, might I even it out for her on this one day? Imagine that it's not heat rash, but instead a moment of being overwhelmed with joy? Would my preference be to leave it? Yes. Would I tone it down a bit because irrespective of my take, she might feel embarrassed by it? If I thought she wouldn't notice what I'd done, but would like the photograph ever so slightly more? Yes, probably I would. Or maybe I just ask her. What a concept. In this instance, you might call it Savile Row style retouching, which is to say, editorial fingerprints so light, if done properly, that just like a Savile Row suit, where the choice of fabric, cut, and tailoring are so extraordinary, so fitted to the man that while people see the suit, they immediately move past it to experience the man wearing it as what's handsome. Well, they'd only see her, beautifully happy, on one of the greatest days of her life. What Reblum's body option actually does makes me much more comfortable than what I thought it was, because I thought it was going to be another instance of body contouring. Reblum extends the same restrained skin treatment to visible skin, face and body, linked or adjusted separately. I've never seen that before. No body shaping by design. Editing from a philosophy of less is more. I love that. Like I said, removing a zit or three, that's a kindness. Contouring somebody's body into something it actually isn't, that's a lie. Done often enough, a dangerous lie. Now, there's something I need to tell you. I lied. I lied through my teeth because none of the people you've seen in these images, other than me actually, exist. None of those photographs are real. Zit Kid never existed. So much for wondering whether removing those zits might be a better representation of who she is the other 364 days a year, because there is no she, and therefore there are no other 364 days. Our 4 friends at the beach never happened. The bride and groom, not them either. I created every one of them out of thin air with words, prompts to a large language model, in this instance, ChatGPT. But I did it with intent because I wanted to show you 2 things. One, the power, ease of use, and especially restraint in Reblum. 2, the day that would arrive when we can no longer reliably distinguish a photograph of someone or something that happened from an image of someone or something that never was. That day arrived months ago. You, I, and a large language model just proved it, and I'm here to tell you this level of artificiality has been around for months. All of which allows me to bring us back to the beginning and then move forward to the second thought I asked you to hold. It was about security, privacy, what happens to our photographs after we've handed them over to somebody else's AI, and the more mundane but more immediately useful tweaks to workflow. By philosophy, design, and implementation, Reblum handles that better than any other AI retouching tool of which I'm aware, which is not exhaustive. Fair enough. 4 tools? Bottom line, processing happens locally on my computer. No internet connection is required to process an image. My photographs don't have to leave my machine. More important still, Reblum uses licensed images to train or improve their retouching models. They don't use their customers' photos. They've made it so that they can't at all. That's not a little checkbox to me. That's philosophy I appreciate, made operational. And workflow? Not how I work, because I am not a volume portrait photographer. I'm not a portrait photographer at all. Never was. Well, for a couple of months. Street is my beat. But the nice thing about Reblum for those of you who are, batch processing if you'd like, with no per image charge and no processing cap, or one portrait at a time with a click. An entire wedding, a school job, thousands of studio images, or the one wedding shot at precisely the right moment when the sun lined up. Same deal. Reblum handles it with ease. It gets in, does the essential work, and gets out of the way. And it works as a standalone app or a plugin to Adobe's Photoshop, Lightroom, and Capture One, up to and including 16-bit. Reblum gave me the opportunity to make this about something much bigger than retouching, and I took it. Because, as I've said any number of ways throughout this video, the question isn't whether AI is powerful or useful. That's already been settled. In this case, it also happens to be far more economical and comfortable too. No modeling fees, no schlepping down to the beach, no sand working into a less than robustly sealed zoom lens, not even the price of stock photos. The bigger issue, which deserves an answer made operational, is, once more with feeling, what we choose to do. What should we do with that power? Although, it does dawn on me as I wrap this up, there is at least one other question worthy of pursuit. Can we actually deprogram ourselves of the normalization of insane menu systems and functionality with, for all intents and purposes, infinite choices? Or are we now stuck inside an entirely new kind of Stockholm syndrome? Camera companies, are you listening? Anyway, please do show Reblum some love by checking them out using the QR code here or the link down in the show notes below for a free, no credit card required, 7-day trial. And if you like what you see and want to move forward, save 20% by using the discount code HUE at checkout, a whopping 40% off a lifetime license if you purchase one before September 6th, 2026. Thanks, Reblum. If you like what you've seen here today, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, join the conversation in the comments section below because this is an exceptional audience. If you'd like help with a portfolio review, gear selection, finding or honing your artistic voice, sign up for a one-on-one mentoring video call via Zoom at 3bmep.com/booking. Finally, please consider supporting our work by using the no-cost HUE affiliate links down below, sending us coffee money via PayPal, or most especially, joining us on Patreon, links down below as well. However you choose to support us, as always, we thank you for it.